So in general chemistry, we're taught that absolute zero is the point at which no molecule has any net movement. There's no movement, all matter stops, and it's the coldest possible temperature that can be reached. And we're also taught in general chemistry about the third law of thermodynamics. And the third law of thermodynamics simply states that absolute zero cannot be reached. But why? Isn't it just a temperature? Isn't it just like any other temperature? Why can we not get to that point? What's the math? What's the chemistry behind that reasoning? So first we need to look at Debye's law of heat capacity. And what we see within that law is A is just a constant. But as T gets to zero, heat capacity is also zero. And that's a key concept we need to realize. That when we get to the temperature of zero, heat capacity equals zero. And this is a reversible process. So any reversible process, if we're going to make a small change to something within that reversible process, nothing has to change. It's got to be equal. So it's the same as saying if we take one water molecule out of a jar, it's not going to change anything. That's one molecule. That's very insignificant. So when we look at how this is going to deal with the fact that we can't reach absolute zero, it all has to go back to the fact that heat capacity equals zero. So there's zero resistance to change in heat when temperature equals zero. So let's say we were to add what's called an infinitesimally small amount of heat, a heat that won't matter, it shouldn't change anything. Well, if heat capacity is zero, and we add a little tiny bit of heat that's not supposed to change anything, what actually happens is the heat jumps all the way up, temperature jumps all the way up to infinity, which we know isn't possible. We can't take something and add something that's not supposed to change anything and all of a sudden it jumps up to infinity. That's not how things work, that's not how chemistry works. So what happens is there's actually always some Q, or there's always some heat present within that system. So that's why absolute zero can never be reached, because there's always heat present. Because if we were to get that low, the reversible process law, it doesn't hold, it's not true. If we were to make an infinitesimally small change to that system, heat or temperature would jump up to infinity, which is impossible.